Earlier today, Congressman James Comer, who is the chairman of the House Oversight and Accountability Committee, well, they released a transcript of the interview with Devon Archer, who, of course, was the former business partner of Hunter Biden. And contrary to what the left would like you to believe, that testimony certainly was not a nothing burger. I've read certain portions of it myself. So what are the highlights or lowlights, depending on how you want to look at this thing? Well, joining me now to go through the interview is Eric Eggers. He's the vice president at the Government Accountability Institute. Eric, welcome to Washington Watch. Great to have you.
Thanks, Jody. It's great to be here.
Well, thank you so much. Listen, I know you've been busy with all of this as well, but before we get in the actual testimony itself, let's kind of lay some groundwork. Tell us a little bit about Burisma Holdings and what we know of Hunter Biden's business dealings in general.
Sure. So, and that's an important place to start, but I think that there's even sort of like a larger perspective to have. So Devon Archer worked with Hunter Biden, and both were able to secure board seats for Burisma Holdings, which is a Ukrainian natural gas company. And we know that Hunter Biden was paid $83,000 a month or $1 million a year for that position. There's been a lot of questions about why Hunter Biden would be selected, and then why his business associate Devon Archer would be selected to be placed on the board of this seemingly random third world natural gas company. And it would be random unless you kind of look at the larger perspective. So right after Barack Obama won his second term as president, Joe Biden took a trip to China with Hunter Biden on Air Force Two. And shortly after that visit, Hunter Biden was able to secure in his new company that he founded with Devon Archer what would become a $1.5 billion private equity deal with the Chinese government. And it was the first of its kind that China had entered into. But this became the business model that the Bidens began pursuing. They would find in sort of these less well-known, less public, less transparent corners of the world business arrangements with people who are essentially trying to launder their reputation and curry favor with people at the highest levels of the United States government. And so that's exactly what the Burisma deal was. And then there became other things that it turns out that why Burisma wanted to cultivate a close relationship with the United States government, with the Obama administration specifically. They had certain things they wanted to get done, and those are among the things that Devon Archer talked about in his testimony.
Wow, that's stunning. So, I mean, it goes from China. It's just all over the place. So let's get into some of the aspects of the testimony itself from Devon Archer. Let's start off with the brand. We're hearing a lot about the brand. Just clearly lay out, what is the brand and what did Devon Archer have to say about it?
Right. So Devon Archer talked extensively about the fact that the Bidens are the brand. And they add value by connecting the brand with people who, again, want to launder their reputation by being associated with the son of the vice president of the United States. It's why I think the biggest bombshell that we have from Devon Archer's testimony, or among the biggest bombshell, the fact that Hunter Biden was able to, in the presence of his customers, put his father, Vice President Joe Biden, on the phone in upwards of 20 times. Like, that is the brand. So, I mean, and this, by the way, is not something that's unique to Hunter Biden. This is unique to the Bidens. We've reported at the Government Accountability Institute that in addition to the deal that Hunter Biden had with Burisma, in addition to the deal that he and Devon Archer had with the Chinese government, the Biden brothers have acquired and accumulated over $31 million in other business deals with entities that are connected to the Chinese military, specifically the Chinese espionage ring, the people that are trying to spy on behalf of the Chinese Communist Party. So the brand is, in terms of the Bidens, they're trying to make as much money as possible with very little regard for how it looks or how it might impact United States national security interests. And oh, by the way, that's not just me saying it. You've had people come out from the United States government say, you know, China's our biggest threat, and anything we're doing business with should be examined. And the Bidens happen to be on the list of things that need to be examined. And so, yeah, so that is the brand. And if you're one of their business partners, you benefit from brand association, right? We remember, I'm sure some of your viewers may be familiar with this new startup golf entity that became popular a few months ago, maybe last year, the Live Golf Tournament. And the term sports washing was used because the Saudi National Fund was attempting to launder its reputation by partnering with professional golfers. That's essentially what people have done by partnering with the Bidens. They're laundering their reputation and associating themselves with the Biden brand.
And in fact, that was precisely the service that Hunter Biden brought to the table. He didn't know anything about the energy sector. He didn't know. It was not like he had earned the right to be on the board earning $83,000 a month. What he brought to the table was influenced the brand, his father. Let's talk about further the comment that I read that Archer said that Burisma actually would have gone out of business had the brand not been attached to it.
No, that's a key comment. You're wise to kind of seize on that. But just to your earlier comment, as far as Hunter Biden's lack of qualifications, that's also part of the brand. You got to remember, Hunter Biden's a guy that was appointed to the board of Amtrak, the rail company. And in the testimony that was given in the halls of Congress when giving his qualifications for why he should be added to the board of Amtrak, it was mentioned that as somebody who lived in Delaware, he'd ridden trains a lot. Like, that was what they read into the record. So Hunter Biden is not a guy who's used to earning his way to the table. He's admitted as much in terms of national television appearances. He's admitted he's struggled with substance abuse and other personal vices. And while I'm not here to condemn any of that, the point is this is a guy whose brand, and specifically his last name, is what gets him into places like this. So, so as far as what Hunter Biden has done and why Burisma would have gone out of business, per Devon Archer's testimony, is they were essentially a corrupt entity, and a prosecutor in Ukraine was giving them a heavily amount of scrutiny in terms of their conduct and might have put them out of business. And I think that's actually maybe the biggest takeaway for your viewers to kind of consider. We know that Devon Archer has said that they were asked by Burisma executives to get the prosecutor who was threatening to put them out of business fired. And then so Devon Archer, with Hunter Biden there, they said, okay, we need to go call D.C., and they left. Now, we don't know who they called in Washington, D.C., but we do know one person who lives in Washington, D.C., and who lived in Washington, D.C. at the time.
Eric, let's hold it right there. What a fascinating discussion we are having with Eric Eggers about the transcript that the House Oversight Committee released regarding Devon Archer's testimony. Incredible. I want us to continue that discussion now.